called the best integrations and tools you should be using for Keap and Infusionsoft. So I know there's a lot of newer partners in the community, and what I'm hoping to do is take my couple years of experience, maybe like 10 years of experience now with Infusionsoft and Keap, and hopefully I've done all the hard work and I can just kind of shortcut your pains of learning all of the different integrations and which ones are good and which ones aren't that good. So before we jump in here, I am going to talk about whether or not you're in the right place. And this is just in case you may want to go check out some of the other presentations. I've looked who I'm like presenting up against. I think it's Lindsay. I think she's pretty awesome. So anyway, here, if you just want a better understanding of what options are available for enhancing what you already do with Keap or Infusionsoft, I think this is a great place for you. If you'd like to see how other people are implementing the software, again, I think this is a great place for you. That's kind of how I like to see and learn about just other really cool people and what they're doing with Infusionsoft. Or maybe you're just curious about what plugins and tools are out there. And if that's the case, as this guy on the right says, you may have come to the right place. And here's what you're going to learn. So you should learn, obviously, what my favorite plugins and integrations are after working with hundreds of clients. You should get a brief overview of how I've used them with clients. So I think you'll have like a pretty good understanding of like, okay, this tool makes sense when this particular thing comes into play, or I have the specific questions. Which ones are better than others. So there's a lot of integrations and tools out there that do similar things, but generally one is going to be better than the other one. So yeah, Neil says he saw Lindsay yesterday, and so he'll stay here. Thanks, Neil. Appreciate you joining. All right, so just a quick intro here. My name is Brett Farr, and the most common question I get when I introduce myself is, Brett Farr, you must be related to the football player. Unfortunately, I'm not. I wish I was. I wish he was my dad or something. It's just not the case. So instead, this is the real Brett Farr, and I've got a small family, as you can see here. And I've been using Keap or Infusionsoft since the early days. And I'm actually curious. I don't know how far behind this chat is from this live stream, but I would be curious to see or know who's been using Infusionsoft since the logo was gray and red and black. So this is the website. I'd use I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Wayback Time Machine, which like archives different pages. This is what the Infusionsoft website used to look like when I first started using it. I mean, it was pretty basic. Then I joined Infusionsoft as an employee in 2012. I see Greg Jenkins here. Shout out to him. He was in my onboarding class. He and I started basically at the same time back in 2012, and I became a partner in about 2014, 2015, that around there. And this is kind of what I do. So I love the tool and I love the community. All right, so why is it important to learn about these plugins and integrations? I would say this is probably one of the main reasons, is because what I'm trying to do is just, again, shortcut the learning process a little bit for you. There's just so many tools out there. This isn't Infusionsoft specific. This is kind of just the marketing tech landscape out there. But still, Infusionsoft is a small part of that. And even in Infusionsoft space, there's dozens of tools. So I've broken this presentation down into what I think will be a more helpful format, and hopefully a little more like engaging format. So I've broken down the best integrations and tools into 7 different categories, and I've ranked each category by my top 3. And so you'll get an overview of what each tool is like, and then why I like it or dislike it. And so this is kind of like my personal Academy Award ceremony. It's kind of the way that I'm referring to it as. So hopefully that'll help you understand like which one is the top of each category. So I don't think there's a way to say like this is the best tool out there, because every business is different. Every business has different needs. So all right, let's just jump into what these categories are. So the first one is just integration, and basically what that means is transferring data between 2 systems. The next one is phone, meaning like how do your sales reps call or text people. The next one is e-commerce. Pretty self-explanatory. How do we get orders or money into Infusionsoft? Membership, that's like membership platforms, like how do you create like a quiz system or learning system. Reporting, miscellaneous, that's the category I just didn't know. There's just so many good plugins, but I didn't know really where to put them. And then general utilities, which is just like hyper-focused Infusionsoft or Keap plugins. By the way, if at any time you are interested in these slides, you can text slides to that number, and this screen will pop up a couple of times. I haven't set up the automation all the way yet, just because this presentation has kind of morphed a little bit since I created this. So it will do this whole, like, you're probably familiar with, hey, text your phone number and your email address and name and all that. So just kind of follow those prompts, and I'll get back to you probably in the next 24, 48 hours with all this information here. All right, so this is kind of what I'm calling like maybe some of the lawyer stuff, just stuff to be aware of when you're talking about integrations and tools that plug into Infusionsoft or Keap. I think the main thing to be aware of is that there are some that are built specifically for Keap or Infusionsoft, and then there's some that were built for other purposes, and they saw that there was a really good connection into Infusionsoft that could enhance their existing community. A good example, if you're familiar with this, Zapier. Zapier wasn't really built for Infusionsoft, but it does integrate with Infusionsoft, and it services a lot of others. So that's kind of, in the software world, it's kind of just called platform agnostic, basically meaning it's not tied directly to Infusionsoft. It just kind of does everything for a bunch of different softwares. These are my own recommendations, again, for the average user, but your own due diligence is recommended, obviously, as you're working with your own clients. And then I would say that, so 100% of these plugins are going to work for Infusionsoft. And then I would say maybe like 85 to 90% of them will work for Keap Pro. Mostly the phone system is that category is where the Keap Pro just doesn't really work. But all the other ones, because they mostly integrate with the Campaign Builder, and Campaign Builder is available in Keap Pro, you're going to have a lot of the same functionality there. And then the final thing to be aware of is that these tools, most of these tools are free for partners. And so if there's one of these tools that you're like, oh man, that's awesome, and you want to try it out, generally you can just reach out to their support team, and they'll hook you up with a free account. All right, so let's just jump in here. I'm going to I'm just checking out the comment stream here, making sure I'm not missing anything. Okay, I think there's a lot going on. So Michael, if there's anything I'm missing, just let me know. All right, so the first category here is integrations, and what that really means is transferring data between two apps. And so because Keap and Infusionsoft are CRMs, or the marketing automation tools, but they have these CRM attached to them. Generally, what that means is we need customer data in them for them to function. And so what that means is you may have another tool out there, like a shopping cart or something like that, where you need to bring in customer data into Keap or Infusionsoft and vice versa. So that's what these are going to be for. So number 3, I would say, is Integromat. Again, this is kind of platform agnostic. It's not specifically for Keap or Infusionsoft. It has a drag and, so you can see from this screenshot right here, it has like a drag and drop builder interface that's kind of like Campaign Builder. So there's some familiarity there. It's actually a really powerful tool, and it's free up to 1,000 tasks per month. Now there's a 15-minute interval for those, but if that's not important to you, you just need 1,000 things per month to happen, then Integromat's actually a pretty good option. A couple things to be aware of is it's probably its closest competitor is Zapier. However, it's not as easy as Zapier, and because of that, it can be a little bit tricky, but it's also in some ways a little more powerful than Zapier. It's a pretty cool one. If you're pretty technical, it's a pretty cool one to check out, and I would definitely recommend it if you just want something simple, basic, free to get started at a kind of a low volume. Number 2 is Parsi, and so I'm seeing a question here from Jeff. What does Integromat do? I see Lisa says she loves Integromat. So all 3 of these are integration tools. So Integromat, Parsi, and the next one I'm going to talk about, basically what they do is they take data from one system and move it to another system. And in our case, usually Infusionsoft or Keap. So that's customer data, that's email addresses, that's phone numbers, all that kind of comes over from one system either into or out of Keap or Infusionsoft. So that's basically what all 3 of these are doing. So number two here, Parsi, I think its biggest pro is that it is got a really deep integration with mostly Infusionsoft, but Keap and Infusionsoft, they share some similar background infrastructure. So again, a lot of these are kind of synonymous. For example, with the deep integration, it can, if you're using Infusionsoft, can create and run action sets, kind of like an old school thing, but if you need to use that, it can be helpful. It can add credit cards to contacts in your system. It can add orders with custom order amounts and whether or not that order was paid or not paid. It can assign referral partners really easily, create tags, all that stuff. It can happen with a, like a graphical interface. You don't have to know a single line of code. So it's got a really deep integration. If you need that, then Parsi is a really good option. It has, I think, the best email parser out of any of the other tools out there. And what that means is sometimes APIs, which is really what's making all of this possible. This entire presentation is made possible because Infusionsoft and Keap have an API which allows other tools to kind of connect through like a backdoor and send and receive data. If the other system that you're trying to integrate with does not have an API, but it does send like email notifications, Parsi is going to be a great option because what it can do is you can set up an email notification, let's say to your inbox, and if that email notification includes the customer's name and email address and phone number, you can tell the system, as long as it's formatted the same every time you get an email, you can tell Parsi to go, and this is where the name Parsi comes from, is it parses that email, takes the information and throws it into Infusionsoft or Keap. It also supports webhooks and some other things. So you don't have to use an email to integrate. You can also use webhooks. And it's also a popular choice for DocuSign. I think they use webhooks with DocuSign to kind of connect it all in there. And so I know that it's kind of a partner favorite to make sure that when a document is seen or received or signed or all that stuff, you're able to trigger and update Keap or Infusionsoft. Number one, again, this one is not specifically for Keap or Infusionsoft, is Zapier. I think it's the what I call the OG integrator here. It's been around for a while, and because of that, it's got the largest like just ecosystem of apps out there. I mean, I think there's thousands of apps that it integrates with. It also does more than just integrate with apps. You can also do like math and functions and dates and things like that, which are like less known. It actually even has its own email parser tool like Parsi. It's not quite as good, but it also has that. I think Zapier is a must-have in the small business marketing technology space. I think if you don't already have a Zapier account, it's probably worth going out there and getting one, just because it's so useful. There's so many different things you can use it for. Greg Jenkins says Zapier is an invaluable part of my toolkit. Totally agree. I absolutely agree. So Rick says the new Keap free integration is pretty cool. I actually haven't used that just because I have a paid account, but I have heard that there is actually something out there with Zapier and Keap and that sort of thing. Like I said, I haven't used it, but it's worth checking out. And it sounds like it's free, which is awesome. So again, to recap here, the best of the integrations: number 3, Integromat; 2, Parsi; and number 1, Zapier. I do have a Q&A section, so I'm trying to follow some of these over here on the right. There's a bunch of questions, so I'll probably just wait till the end, unless there's one specific mic that you see that you want to stop me for. It's totally fine. All right, so this next section is the phones, and this would be mostly for people that are doing like sales. You need a phone system of some sort, and you need to either call or text. Keap Pro, as you likely know if you're using that one, has some really basic SMS and phone stuff built in. So really, these are mostly for Infusionsoft only. And so just keep that in mind. Number 3 is Just Call. It's kind of a newer one. It's a newer integration into Infusionsoft. And it's not Infusionsoft specific. So they've been around for a little bit, but they've recently connected in. And what I like about it is it's just a little bit cleaner and easier. You can kind of see from the screenshot. It's like a simple thing. I think for the most part of the 3 that we're going to talk about, sales reps will enjoy using this one more than the other ones, but it won't give you the amount of flexibility that some of the other ones will give you, meaning you won't have as much automation and that sort of thing. So it's just going to be, you kind of have to see where you're at and what's more important for the client, whether or not their sales reps like it or whether or not they really want some really cool automation. Number two looks like there's a lot of chat here about what's going on with Zapier. So it looks like Mandy thinks you've got some updates there about what's going on. I just don't know enough about the free version of Zapier. So thanks for taking that on. Number two is TurboDial, which has a really deep integration with Infusionsoft. And as a quick example, you can trigger an API goal every time a call is made, or anytime a call is, you leave a voicemail. I mean, there's just so many different things that you can trigger API goals off of. So with that, you can do just tons of automation. I would say that this is like, if you've got just a lot of volume coming in, you can almost use this at a small scale, like call center. In fact, one of my clients, I mean, they've got maybe 10 reps using it. And the way that they use it is like this easy claim your lead feature, what I'm talking about. You can see there in the screenshot, there is like an alerts section in the middle. And basically it's an HTTP post out to TurboDial. TurboDial says whatever message you want it to say. You can put it all in in the HTTP post or not. Basically, you can just say, hey, you've got a new lead. The rep can click on that. It pops open their phone number and everything right there within the TurboDial interface. They can call them, and then they can disposition it really easily. So at the bottom of that screenshot on the left there, you'll see that you can apply a tag, or you can do tasks. You can do unique dispositions using like tasks or other features. So it's actually really, really robust. Reps can work almost exclusively within TurboDial, not 100%, but most of their day, if they're just calling people and on the phone, they can mostly do it within TurboDial. They don't have a mobile app. It's clunkier than the last one as far as the sales rep experience goes. It's just not, as you can kind of see from the previous, from Just Call, you can kind of see what the user interface looks like. It's just different. But again, it's just more powerful when it comes to automation. Number one, I would say, is Fix Your Funnel. So this is, again, one of the originals in this in the Infusionsoft space, and they've been around for a really long time. Ryan Chapman, who runs it, he's a big part of the Infusionsoft just partner community, and so he's been around for a really long time, and their team, I think, does a pretty good job. This one is similar to TurboDial in that it's not going to be as user friendly. It's got a ton of features, but with that, the sales reps need to kind of navigate and understand how it works. You as the partner will likely need to do some setup as well before they can actually use it. For example, with like call dispositions, like how does that work? So generally what you need to do is like set up forms and things like that that can then integrate with Fix Your Funnel. Fix Your Funnel has a pretty good mobile app as well, which is why it's, I think, a good option. And then it has a really robust texting system as well. So automated text messaging, and then just campaign builder text messaging. They do a really good job there. So Fix Your Funnel is a really good option. Again, depending on your client's needs, if sales reps don't like how hard it is to kind of maneuver and function through some of these, then like a justcall.io might be a better option. If that's less important and automation side of things and just having a robust system is more important, then one of these other ones, Fix Your Funnel, TurboDial, might be a better option. So just to recap here, phones, Fix Your Funnel number 1, TurboDial number 2, and justcall.io number 3. So the third one here is membership, and this one, if you've been in the space for a while, you'll know there's so many out there. So what I try to do is just keep these to Infusionsoft specific membership platforms. So we'll start off with number 3. I almost struggled to add this one because it is super basic, but again, it's I think it is probably the first membership site out there that Infusionsoft had back in the day. And Infusionsoft even acquired a Customer Hub for a couple of years and then sold it back to the original founders, Kyle, who's actually been taking it and revamping it. From what I understand, they're releasing a brand new version of Customer Hub like here in the next, I don't know, soon. I think they made that announcement earlier this month or last month. One benefit to it is that it's easy to use, and that can't be said for the other two on my list, which are WordPress based. They're not nearly as easy to use. This one's also standalone, so you don't need WordPress. It just works. without any other additional tools. And I think where this one kind of fits in right now is, again, I think they're updating it, so it's going to be a lot easier and just more useful. But if you just need basic membership stuff where, for example, person 1 has tag A, therefore he gets access to pages 1, 2, and 3. Person 2 has tag B, and they get access to, pages 4, 5, and 6. Then that's, it's great. It's a great tool for what you need there. It's not an LMS. You won't be able to do like quizzes or anything like that. It's really just membership stuff only. It also has a little bit of like subscription management stuff built in as well. So keep all that in mind. I think Keap Pro users will enjoy this a little bit more than like the more advanced Infusionsoft users, again, just because of the ease of use. So number 2 is Membarium. This one I would say has probably the deepest Infusionsoft or Keap integration of maybe any plugin out there ever. I think developers have spent just tons of time creating a really tight integration, and so because of that, and because it's WordPress based, it's not easy. You have to be pretty technical to set it up. However, with that being said, if your client needs that and they need something really robust, then the combo of Membarium, which is just membership, and LearnDash, which is more of like an LMS, that combo I've seen have some really powerful, robust membership sites. Again, not for everyone. It would be probably more for the bigger players, your larger clients that really have that need. But if they do, then that combo of Membarium and LearnDash is ultra powerful. And again, it's one of the tightest integrations of any tools out there. Number 1 is Access Ally. This one, I've kind of dethroned Membarium, which was number 1 for me for a while, only because it has 2 main reasons. It has an LMS built right in. It's not as powerful as LearnDash. But because of that, and because it's a little bit easier to use than a Membarium, it's kind of why I've been steering clients in this direction as of late. Again, every client's different. Like we've talked about a couple times here. It really depends on their needs, but if they really just want something a little bit easier to use that they can manage a little, on their own a little bit more, then it's a really good option. Again, this is WordPress based, so you really have to be aware that WordPress has its own set of issues and problems that potentially that could creep up. And so what I've got here is a recap of the membership site tools. And I've added a couple more here because of the whole WordPress situation. So again, Access Ally, Membarium, Customer Hub, and I've added here, I don't want to talk too much about them, but Kajabi would be an option, and Thinkific would be an option if your client wants a little more flexibility. They don't care about the really tight integration with Infusionsoft. They just want something easy, quick to set up and use and understand. Kajabi and Thinkific would be the next places that I go. Hopefully that gives you a really solid understanding of the ecosystem of membership site tools. Again, you can text that number, text slides to that number, 602-726-0406. By the way, if you go through that whole conversation, that is Fix Your Funnel, that whole like automated conversation, almost the bot sort of conversation that you have. Fix Your Funnel has that feature, plus this has introduced that feature in the last year or two as well. All right, so this next section is reporting. Just grab a drink here. Just spilled a little bit of water, not on the computer, thankfully. All right, so reporting. Number 3, this one I think is an interesting one. Again, this is my list, so I'm choosing what's on here, but I do think these are all valuable as well. Is a Plus This Google Sheets integration. It's kind of a combo, and to me, it's been surprisingly simple to build reports using Google Data Studio. I have a Data Studio expert that can take my base reports and really enhance them. I like Data Studio, which is like, if you're familiar with like the BI space, business intelligence, like it's a competitor to like a watered down basic competitor to like a Domo or one of those like major ones. So what I like is that Google Sheet Plus This can push save search data from Infusionsoft or even Keap in some ways. I found Keap, if you go to the campaign builder reports, those kind of have the old Infusionsoft feel. So you can export those as well if you're using Keap Pro. But basically what you're able to do is then, if you already have Plus This, everything else is free. Google Data Studio is free, Google Sheets is free. And you can build some really robust reports that allow you to, create pie charts and custom date range filters, all that stuff. So I found it to be pretty helpful that way. Here's an example of a client that we've helped. Number two is what I would say, somebody's saying Zapier Data Studio. I would say yes as well. That totally works, but you have to go into Google Sheets first, or some other data warehouse place. Google Sheets seem to be the easiest. The reason I like the plus this one is because it always updates the data like every 15 minutes. In other words, if I have a rep that goes back to a record 3 weeks ago and updates something on it, then every 15 minutes that saved search will be refreshed, and that new data will be present in my updated reports. Whereas Zapier is usually like an if then, and usually based on record creation. So if a record is created, then add the data, and it's a lot harder to go back and say, but if that data is then later updated, then go and update this record and go find the email address that matches. So it's just a lot harder. So that's why I usually don't do Zapier to Google Sheets, and I use the plus this. Wicked Reports number two here is, this is a lot more complex, again, depending on your client's needs. I would say if your client is spending money on advertising, specifically on Facebook or Google or some of these other online ad platforms, then Wicked Reports is going to probably be the best of all three of these. It's going to be the most expensive. You're going to probably need some help to get it set up, just because there's a lot to it, and you probably need to understand like UTM parameters and some other more like complex digital marketing stuff. I don't think it's impossible for just the average person to do it, because I think they have some pretty good help on the front end. But just keep that in mind, that I think this is probably going to give the best picture holistically of how the marketing is doing from the very front end, ad dollar spent, all the way to the back end, which ad dollar or which ads or which terms resulted in the most revenue on the back end. So kind of gives that really holistic picture. And then number one, again, just more for like ease of use. This is more for like, they do have some Facebook integrations. So encroaching on that Wicked Reports area, but Graphly, I would say, is more built for your CRM data only. So it's just basically, for the most part, taking what's inside Infusionsoft and visually reporting that information for you. And because of that, it's just going to be easy to set up. That's kind of why I like it, is they've got easy pre-built reports. Mostly anyone can go in there and build them out themselves. Those reports are not nearly as flexible, but they're just easy to use. And for example, I want to see how many people get this tag every day, and that tag is like opted into my newsletter or something like that. It would give you just a simple 10 people this day, 30 people this day, 5 people this day. It was just really simple, quick, and easy reports. Cool, getting some good chat going on here. Recap here is, again, Graphly for number one, Wicked Reports 2, plus this Google Sheets. I think, again, some more honorable mentions. Segmetrics is kind of in that Wicked Report space where they're trying to show like ROI on ad spend, basically. That it's the full customer lifecycle, from ads getting clicked on, person moving through your sales cycle, all the way to the back end, which ads resulted in sales. And then click data is an interesting one. They basically have access to all the API tables directly. So you go in, you kind of have to understand the Infusionsoft Keap API structure a little bit to do it. But technically, you can build almost any report as long as the API information is there. You can do it within Click Data. That one, you're really going to have a pretty good understanding of. Just be a really technical person, but it's a really powerful tool as well. All right, so this next section is scheduling and appointment booking. Basically, what that means is that lets others automatically schedule on your calendar. I think this one's like, everyone knows what these are these days, so I'm just going to kind of go through these ones quickly and give my opinion about the different tools. Number 3 is Appointment Core. The pros, I would say, with Appointment Core is that it's just reliable and has a deep Infusionsoft integration. So it just works. It's not fancy necessarily. I mean, there are some cool things it can do. The design for the end user that's trying to schedule is a little slow on this cons, a little slow and outdated. It's not like my favorite interface, but it just works. In fact, I still use it, have used it for many years. But it's mostly because I get it for free. Again, as a partner, you get Appointment Core for free as well. I'd reach out if you would like an account with them. The next one again is probably going to be a combination of Calendly and plus this, which is, and the reason I like Calendly so much is just, again, for the end user, it's really easy. Like they just click a time and a date, and it's fast and it's simple and it just works. And plus this makes it easy to connect that into Infusionsoft. It can be a little more difficult to set up than like an appointment core, just because now you've got two different tools to worry about rather than just one integration. But it's worth trying. So somebody says they love appointment core. That's awesome. Again, yeah, I still use it as well. Number one, I would say is schedule once. This is going to be the most professional and robust option. So if your client has a little more needs when they've got like rotating sales reps and just a lot of things like that, schedule once is probably going to be the best option out there. And they have a direct and native Infusionsoft integration. You got to be aware of what you're doing when you set that up. For example, you can it'll create. This is the most common problem I see with schedule once, is that when people who don't quite understand the integration set it up, they will tag every appointment. So what it does, it creates new tags for every single appointment. So you have all these contacts throughout your system that have a unique tag each, and your system becomes really overloaded with tags that are pointless. So that's really my only beef with schedule once. Other than that, it's a really good tool. And again, this one's not Infusionsoft specific. They were well established, and then they kind of crept into the Infusionsoft space. It's probably because of all that, it's going to be a little more expensive as well. So just to recap these ones, schedule once, Calendly, and plus this kind of connected. Number three would be appointment core. Number four, I think it's worth mentioning here, is Keap Appointments. They've recently added some automation features there, and so if it's not like if you had a yoga class or something, you wanted to have a little more features, it's not going to probably work for that. But if it's just you have like 1 or 2 or 3 sales reps, and they just need a way to be able to send a link out to their clients to book on their calendar, Keap Appointments is actually coming a long way, and it's actually pretty good. So that's worth checking out if you're a Keap Pro user or your clients are Keap Pro users. Someone says, why plus this rather than Zapier with Calendly? So Zapier can be done with Calendly. Plus this just makes it easier. And that's what, because plus this is specific for Infusionsoft, it's just going to make that integration that much easier. Zapier, there's some weird, I haven't set it up, but I've heard some weird time zone issues and things like that. So anyway, there's a couple people saying appointment core is bulletproof. Schedule once is the best. Yeah, I think everyone has their opinions on which ones. All three of those will work. At the end of the day, you just kind of have to see what your clients need and what they want. All right, so the next section here is e-commerce. Number 4 here is kind of an oldie but a goodie, I think, is For2Pay. I don't think terribly well known, but it gives, you can see the screenshot there on the right, it gives the customers the ability to log in and see any old invoices, and then also pay invoices and add credit cards and update subscriptions. And it kind of just gives a self-service portal to your clients to be able to do what they need to. I think it's worth noting Embarium and Customer Hub and some of the others, like the membership platforms, have basically the same thing built in. So if you're already using one of those, you don't necessarily need to add this. But if you don't, and you want a place for people to go and see past invoices, download them, pay, all that, this is a really good tool. Clean, simple, easy to use for the end user. All right, so number 3 is, number 3, connect my sales. So this one is only if you're using Shopify, but if you are using Shopify, then it's probably the best option out there. What it's going to do is it's going to take all of your Shopify order data and bring it into Infusionsoft. This one is built by Jason, who's a big part of Jason Osterley's a big part of the Keap community. He's been kind of running with the whole dynamic content. He has a whole group for that as well. So he's been part of the community. He's one has built this, and so I think every time there's an active partner in the community that has one of these tools that's there and supports it, it just, I think it speaks volumes because they're there. Like, you can ask them questions and all that. Number 2 is InfuseWoo. This one has a deep integration with WooCommerce. So if you're using WooCommerce, your clients were using WooCommerce, this one can do all sorts of stuff. Again, it's pulling all the data, payments information, all of that as orders, right into Keap. So this one also supports referral partners and native Infusionsoft merchant accounts. So there's some cool things that it can do there as well. So it's, you know, it's just pretty robust basically when it comes to if you're using WooCommerce. Number one, I would say, is probably another partner favorite. When I posted something in the Infusionsoft or Keap certified partner group a couple of weeks ago, my question was, you can see there from the Facebook comment, what was your favorite Infusionsoft or Keap add-on? Spiffy was definitely one of the tops. And so if you haven't used it, it's basically a way to just dress up the existing Infusionsoft order forms, and it makes them just look professional. The existing, I mean, they've recently introduced a newer version than what was available even last year. Those are much better, but they're not what you can do with Spiffy. The other nice thing about Spiffy is they make it pretty easy to add like terms and conditions and custom fields all to an order form. Let's see, recap here for e-commerce is, so number one would be Spiffy, 2, Infused Woo, 3, Connecting My Sales, and number 4, Pay. I'm seeing some comments, by the way, a lot of this is based on my own experience, just based off what clients needed and used. And so if I may have missed one or two or many out there, it's not that I dislike them in any way. It's mostly because I haven't used them. I just didn't come across them necessarily in what I've needed for clients. So just keep that in mind. There may be others out there that are just as good, useful. So just want to point that out. All right, so this next section is the miscellaneous, and it's really just they just random stuff that is helpful for either Keap or Infusionsoft. Keep that top of mind. Number 6, this one got a lot of love as well, which is the deliverability dashboard. This one is from Adrian, who's a big part of the community as well. And this one basically gives you an easy to understand email health score and a couple of recommendations on how to improve you or your client's email reputation. You can see my reputation as of late hasn't been that great. This is mine. I'm kind of in that like red to orange zone. You can see there from the screenshot. So it basically just gives you a quick and easy, just jump in. How do things look? What do we need to do to start making sure that this is working better? Your email marketing is working better. Number 5, if you do anything with direct mail, these two, ZenDirect, Rocket Notes, I've kind of been leaning towards Rocket Notes as of late, but I think ZenDirect still has a good integration. This is an example of a client there on the right, which is just a way for his sales reps. They would just put in, we just created an internal form for them just to make sure that they had all of the address data and all the other information necessary for sending out a postcard. And you click the button, you can see it, we dynamically pulled in some text there on the bottom. It says, "Hi Brett, this is test 3." So it's just some cool things you can do. They also have gift cards available, like brownies, I've heard, just lots of other cool, just extra touch things I think go a long way in this like really digital world. So I really like, where possible and where the client agrees that customer experience is important, I think that these tools are great. Number 4 would be List Cleaner, which is a hands-off way to keep your Infusionsoft or Keap database clean. And what I mean by hands-off is basically you just connect it and it just works in the background. So what happens is you get a new contact that comes in your system. This tool goes and looks for it. If it's funky, if it's got like Russian in it, all the kind of the common signs, and it'll tell you this one is definitely fishy, this one's probably fishy, this one is good. And it just tags your contacts that way. You can kind of go through and it'll even delete them, I think, automatically if you want. This one's supported by Jordan Hatch. Is probably everyone in the Keap community knows him. He's been around a long time. Again, just kind of mentioning where I know the partners that support these tools. Number 3 would be FuseDesk. This is really just a helpful tool, I think, especially if your clients are a little bit bigger. I think the smaller clients kind of get away with just email for their and basic support systems. This is also a really competitive space, and there's a lot with like Zapier integrations and things like that. So the main reason I'm keeping this one here is it is a help desk tool, but it's built specifically for Infusionsoft and I haven't never tested with Keap. I don't know. There might be some things with Keap it probably does as well, but it's got like live chat and has some integrations directly with Fix Your Funnel for text messaging and that sort of thing. I would say their focus, and this is what they say on their website, is really info marketers, law firms, and then I think membership site owners. So if you kind of fit in, or if your clients fit in one of those, then it could make a lot of sense if you're looking for a help desk tool. Number 2 is pick snippets. This is just a fun one, I think. It dynamically adds text to images in emails. You probably have seen this. I think Frank Kern is really who started using this way back in the day, which kind of got it popular. This one, again, free account if you are a partner. It's just great for increasing engagement, and I would probably say even conversion on some of your email campaigns. So anyway, a quick and easy one just to add a little more excitement, I guess, to your email campaigns. Number 1 is spam kill. For me, those other ones are kind of nice to have, but if you've had a client that's just getting inundated with spam, you know how frustrating it can be. I had it happen once or twice, and the Infusionsoft CAPTCHA doesn't seem to catch it. And even I've had clients try all sorts of other things that just didn't work until we put in spam kill, and for whatever reason, spam kill just works. It basically just works. I don't know how to explain it. I don't know all the science and coding behind it. Mahir, I'm actually not exactly sure how you say his name, but he's a big part of the community as well. He's really active. He's one that's kind of the builder of this particular one. And anyway, this one's kind of saved my bacon once or twice just because we were getting inundated. So there you go. Just a recap here of the miscellaneous ones. Number 1, spam kill, pick snippets, Fuse Desk, list cleaner, ZenDirect, Rocket Notes, and deliverability dashboard. All right, so moving on here, general utilities here. So this is, so utility is, its definition is the state of being useful, profitable, or beneficial. I didn't really know what to call this category. To me, this is kind of like the best picture. This is like, if you're going to start with something and you use Infusionsoft or Keap, and you're like, I don't know, I just want a plugin to try or something, this would be the category where I would start. And that's kind of why I've saved it for last. So number 4 is Novak Solution. And by the way, all 4 of these, they all have a lot of overlap. They're all built specifically for Infusionsoft or Keap. And because of that, there's a lot of overlap. And so what I've tried to do here is show which features are unique to which ones, and then I've actually used with clients. And hopefully that'll kind of give you an idea of what you can do with them. So number 4, Novak Solutions. This one, where I've used a lot, is taking opportunity or order data and transferring that to the contact record. And the reason you want to do that is for automation, for campaign purposes. For example, if you collect information on the opportunity and you want to automate something off of that, you can use these tools to push that into, opportunity field 1 into contact field 1. And that then will allow you to automate based off of that. Same thing with order details. So for example, if you have an order, the most recent order has a value amount of like $100, and you want a campaign for somebody who spent more than $100 or less than $100, you can't really do that natively very easily with Infusionsoft, whereas something like this would be really simple. Makes it pretty straightforward. The other one is contacts with certain zip codes. So there's not really a whole lot of like location stuff out there, I found with Keap or Infusionsoft. This one makes it pretty simple. So for example, we've got a list of zip codes that are assigned to this rep, list of zip codes that are assigned to this rep. Novak Solutions could probably handle that for you. Another one that we've used is for linking referral partners from campaigns. So in this example, we gave a list of like 10 referral partners, a web form they could go and they could choose their own name from the referral partner drop down. We don't have to worry about cookies or anything like that. It basically, once they did that, we chose through Decision Diamond which referral partner that person needed to be assigned to, and Novak Solutions handled the linking of that referral partner. One of the reasons I like Novak Solutions is because the first tool is free for your clients. So when you sign them up, let's just say you need any one of these that I've already talked about, and they actually have, I don't know, another 20 or so, then, and you only need one of them, then it's 100% free, which I really like. From there they can decide to pay if they want. Number 3 here would be My Infusion Helper. This one, again, built specifically for Infusionsoft for just doing a whole myriad of things out there. Some of the ones that I've used are Trello. I don't use Trello anymore, but when I did, it has a really tight Trello integration. And so it was really easy to like add new cards with contacts. And then when cards would move from column to column, it would tag them inside Infusionsoft really easily or update them inside Infusionsoft really easily. So just, I really liked that one when I used it. Excel integration. Excel, as you know, is super powerful. Kind of works like the Google Sheets integration we've talked about already, but with Excel, and some clients just are on Microsoft, and so Excel is going to be a better option for them. And then this one was interesting, is you can assign users based on proximity. And so what that means is when a contact comes in, as long as you've got your users, you've got addresses in your user accounts, it'll look through all those users, and based on drive time, you can say, this contact is actually closest to this particular user, therefore I'm going to assign it to that user. So some pretty cool things. I think they've got 40, 50 plus tools. There's a lot of similarities here with Plus This. I would say generally it's less expensive depending on what your client needs. And it's also probably not as good in that Plus This is going to provide a little more support, there's a little more active community, just a larger organization to back up Plus This. Number 2 is FunnelBots. This is a fun one because it's 100% free. Just anytime you got something free, that's great, right? Like clients are always like, oh, I've got to spend money on something else, right? That's one of the biggest things that comes up when I'm talking about these integrations with clients. Whereas FunnelBots is pretty straightforward. It's free and easy. Mostly, again, there's a lot of overlap. This one won't be as easy to use as some of the other tools. It's really just HTTP post based, but there's not anything kind of pushing easily back into Infusionsoft. So yeah, hard to explain, but basically if you need basic math or date functions, FunnelBots is great, makes it really easy. If you have like order functions where they have a bot for taking, let's just say somebody purchased 10 of a specific item, and you want to take that number 10 and put it in a contact record. Again, going back to what we were talking about before, where if they purchased 10 or more, they go down this route. If they purchased 9 or less, they go down this route. Something like FunnelBot's going to handle that for you. And then another one that I've used quite a bit is this Next Bill Bot. So if you've used subscriptions and you want that to be in a field that's like, hey, your next bill day, it's like an annual subscription, you can have that saved in their contact record, and you can display that now in Membrane or display that on an email somewhere. It just basically says your next bill date is this date. So there's things like that. Again, it's free, pretty easy to use for the most part. They also have like Zoom and some other stuff, Airtable integrations like that. So it's an interesting one, and definitely worth checking out if you haven't yet. Yeah, so someone's asking FunnelBots and Fix Your Funnel. So yeah, I should have mentioned this. Fix Your Funnel. So the creators of Fix Your Funnel, Ryan Chapman and Trent Chapman, those two also created FunnelBots, and I think basically this is kind of like one of their lead gen tools. I think was the way they originally built it. Was like, hey, so let's get somebody in on a free FunnelBot account, and then we can maybe show them a little bit more about what Fix Your Funnel is about. So that's basically, I think, what's going on. So there are some of the bots also help with Fix Your Funnel, which is the phone system we talked about earlier. All right, so number 1 is Plus This. I think this one shouldn't be a surprise. I think they're probably, Plus This is the most active. I think Bryce is even in this. I think I've seen him pop up a couple times. Bryce, who runs a lot of the marketing community stuff for Plus This. Some examples here, though, I would say they have just tons of examples of things you can do. Would be like things that I found: scarcity and countdown timers. So I've had other clients completely replace other systems because they didn't need it anymore because Plus This did it, plus a bunch of other things, where you want to, for everyone that comes in, you want to set like a 1-week limit for them to take action, or a 24-hour limit for them to take action. And that integrates with some live countdown timers and all that. You can do it 100% with Plus This. Video triggers, meaning, somebody watches 75% of your video, you want to tag them, you want to follow them differently than someone who doesn't watch your videos. That's a really common use case. file upload. So if you want people to be able to upload, let's say their resume, and that have that go right into the Infusionsoft file box for that contact, then Plus this can do that for you. The Google Sheets exports we've talked about. There are literally dozens of others. And so I'm not going to go into all of them because I'll let you check that out. But let's just recap these. Plus this, number one, FunnelBoss number two, my Fusion Helper, and then Novak Solutions. So congrats to all the winners. I do want to point out here that I think the best of all categories. So if you like Rotten Tomatoes like me, you'll get this reference. I think Plus this is probably, if you're in the Infusionsoft and Keap space, this is probably the best tool, third-party integration, whatever you want to call it, out there. I just think it's well supported. I think it's ultra easy to use. As partners, they offer a great partner with affiliate program. Bryce did not pay me to say any of this stuff, I promise. Zapier would be another one, number two. It's just, there's so many use cases that you can't even get into all of them. It can do so many different things, which is just really, really cool. And then number three, I would say Spiffy. So if anytime like a client comes to me and says, what do you think of this tool? And it's on this list, I usually just say, yep, get it, it's worth it. Just because, you know, they're just easy to recommend, easy to use, easy to implement, all that. Yeah, somebody here is saying, oh, that's Michael Hunt. Yeah, so okay, so Spiffy's on here as well, Michael. Keap plus Spiffy plus Membrarium plus this is a powerful stack. Yeah, I would agree. So it's worth noting that many of these, and I noticed here to highlight Appointment Core. I apologize if you guys are on, but I think I've got the other ones. The ones I've talked about, I've highlighted here. So a lot of them are here in the at the exhibit hall, so you can go chat with them and kind of discuss what that looks like. Again, one last time, if you want these, you can go ahead and text that. And that's basically it. I think there's been a lot of questions. I've tried to like not answer them as we've been going, just because I knew we'd be up on time here. I think from what I'm seeing, there's a lot of interaction and other people are answering the questions. So I think we have another like 2 or 3 minutes. If you want to ask something, I'll try to answer it in the time we've got. But other than that, thank you guys. Appreciate you coming. Thanks for the support, and excited to get to meet all you newcomers as well.
Gotcha, Brett. Thanks so much. There has been lots of questions, but our partner community is amazing in that a lot of them just get answered right away in the chat. So good on you, listeners. You didn't know it, but you had lots of people helping in the chat as well. So that's great. I think that's something that for me as a moderator that I'd like to point out is you have done an amazing job of articulating a lot of the choices that are popular within the community. And I think that there's another side of things where exploration is the reason why you can even do this presentation. So can you just speak a little bit about like how you know about all this, and if somebody wanted to learn more about integrations, kind of the path that has taken you here?
Oh man, that's a good question. Really, I think what it comes down to is just like how long I've been in the ecosystem, and so I've just seen a lot. And I've just worked with so many clients that have had different needs. And so, when a client comes to me and I'm like, oh, they need this, then I go do my research and I look at the different options available and ask the partner community and all that. And so if I were to recommend something, I would just start in the Facebook group and I would say, I have a client looking to do X. Is there a recommendation for a tool out there? That's generally where I would start. There used to be like a marketplace for Keap and Infusionsoft. I think it's kind of been abandoned. And so unfortunately that I wouldn't necessarily, they still have it, but I don't think it's been updated for a while. So I would just start there if it were me.
Yeah, that's good. If there's any other questions that want to come in here in the last 2 or 3 minutes for Brett, if maybe you are trying to overcome a specific problem or something, we can take a crack at it. If not, I see a lot of things coming through already from the partners who are here. I'm going to try and get this posted post PCon back in the group too, for those that need this type of overview. So
I'm just putting my email address in the chat. And so
Cool.
I would say, yeah, I think if you have questions, and I think there's a lot of partners out there that are just ultra, friendly and willing to share. And I'm definitely, I think, willing to share anything that you're interested in learning about. So just reach out if you need, and we're happy to give my opinion on it.
All right, Mr. Farr, it's a pleasure. We'll give these folks a minute or two to chat. Feel free to scroll up and answer anything that you see there. But yeah, we're kind of on to that last break and breakout session. So I know there's a product session going on. I know the networking areas and the executive lounge and RPM lounges are opening up here in just a minute. But we'll hang out for a couple minutes and answer questions in the chat. But very well done. Thank you.
Yep. Thanks, Michael. Thanks everyone for coming. Appreciate the support. See you guys around.